Ever been so good at your job it made people uncomfortable? Welcome to Janelle Carter's world. It's 6:47 a.m. in Savannah, Georgia, and the Grand Bellevue Hotel is waking up with its usual mix of fake smiles and polished lies. White columns, glistening chandeliers, and the scent of wealth hanging like a perfume you can't afford. To the guests, it's Southern charm wrapped in velvet. To Janelle, it's survival dressed up in 5-star ratings. At 32, Janelle Carter has the kind of presence that walks into a room before she does. Sharp, composed, and damn good at her job. She's the kind of hospitality manager who doesn't just solve problems. She annihilates them. Staff love her. Guests remember her. Executives tolerate her, barely. She's also the only black woman in the hotel's management circle, a fact she's reminded of every time someone mistakes her for housekeeping or asks her if she's new here, at meetings she's been running for 2 years. But she keeps her smile locked in place like armor because she knows what happens when you take it off. That day, it all went left was a Tuesday. Tuesdays never felt right to her anyway, too. It started in the break room, where the housekeeping team, mostly older black and Latina women, stood whispering around a faded flyer taped to the fridge. Management had quietly slashed overtime pay for weekend shifts, claiming budget issues. The cuts didn't touch the front desk or concierge, just them. Janelle didn't whisper. She stormed. She took the issue straight to the top. Leonard Hensley, regional director with a Rolex on one wrist and plantation nostalgia in his smile. She laid it out, how unethical it was, how illegal it might be, how they couldn't get away with robbing the most underpaid workers in the building. Hensley leaned back in his leather chair like he was watching a show he'd already seen too many times. "Janelle," he said slowly, "maybe you need to recalibrate your attitude. We're not in the business of moral crusades. We're in hospitality." She didn't raise her voice, didn't curse, didn't throw anything. But she didn't back down either. By Friday, she was out. No HR meeting, no final warning. Just a bland email from corporate, a final paycheck printed with the same ink they used to fake concern, and a security guard who wouldn't even look her in the eye. Terminated due to escalating attitude concerns. She walked out with her shoulders squared, her back straight, and 1,000 unspoken words stitched into every step. They thought they'd silenced her. They thought wrong, because outside those glass doors, Savannah still shimmered with that humid charm. But something was shifting. Janelle didn't just leave unemployed. She left awake. And the truth she carried was heavier than any luggage that ever rolled across those marble floors. This isn't the end of her story. It's just the spark that lit the fuse. Some folks burn bridges. Janelle builds blueprints. She didn't leave the Grand Bellevue and blow up on social media. No dramatic tell-all. No fiery email threads. Nah, that wasn't her style. She left in silence. But it was the kind that stalks you, like thunder waiting behind the clouds. Janelle Carter had a plan, even if she didn't know it yet. While the rest of the world assumed she was licking her wounds, Janelle was waking up at 5 a.m., grinding through legal textbooks, learning the ins and outs of hospitality law like it was her new religion. She drank black coffee and slept 5 hours a night. She budgeted her severance and cashed out a 401k that was barely enough to raise a brow, but it kept her afloat. Friends thought she was laying low. In reality, she was laying bricks. She started attending night classes at Savannah Law College, a small but brutal program that didn't care about your sob story. They wanted grit, and Janelle had enough to pave a damn highway. She sat in the back, took notes like her life depended on it, because honestly, it kinda did. 2 years in, she started making waves. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. But word got out. A local conference on minority-owned business development gave her the mic for 15 minutes. She didn't sell dreams. She told truths about wage theft, glass ceilings, and how Southern hospitality had a color-coded entry fee. The crowd leaned in like they were hearing gospel, and in the back row sat 3 men from Heritage Roots Ventures, an all-black investment group known for putting real money into overlooked ideas and underestimated people. They weren't looking for loud. They were looking for sharp. And Janelle? She was a damn scalpel. At first, they offered her a short-term consulting gig, help one of their boutique hotels fix its operations, and dodge a looming lawsuit. She cleaned that mess in 2 months flat and left the client begging for more. By the third job, she had her own desk in their downtown office. By the sixth, she had equity. And then came the whisper. The Grand Bellevue might be up for sale. At first, she laughed, thought it was a cruel joke. The place that tossed her like trash, now dangling a for sale sign like some twisted full circle moment. But Heritage didn't flinch. They'd been watching the market. The hotel had been bleeding profits quietly, the kind of slow financial bleed that doesn't make headlines, but rots you from the inside. Still, the price tag was steep, 7 figures steep. And the board was going to want reassurance. More than charm. More than backstory. So Janelle built a proposal that could slice through titanium. A full rebrand. New leadership structure, community partnership programs, profit projections clean enough to make a bank blush. She didn't beg. She presented. And the board? They didn't just approve it, they pushed it through. One rainy Friday night, tucked inside a wine bar near Forsyth Park, Janelle Carter slid a pen across a thick, creaseless contract. Her fingers trembled for half a second. Then she signed. In that moment, she didn't smile. She exhaled. The Grand Bellevue Hotel was hers, majority-owned, black-led, and about to become the most dangerous thing Savannah had seen in years, a business run by someone who actually gave a damn. They fired her thinking she'd disappear. Instead, she circled back with the keys. And she's just getting started. They thought she'd vanished. Nah, she just changed lanes. When the papers went through, Janelle didn't post a thing. No watch me win tweets, no dramatic countdown on Instagram. Just quiet moves with loud consequences. A new LLC formed under a holding company with a name so bland it screamed corporate camouflage. Midstream River Holdings, Delaware-based, no red flags, just shadows. The Bellevue staff didn't even notice the shift. A few new forms. A memo about a future renovation. Some buzz about a buyer. That's it. Management? Still smug, still clueless. Leonard Hensley, the regional director with his crusty smile and ego that could barely fit through the gilded doors, still stomped through the lobby like he owned oxygen. He snapped at bellboys, scolded concierges, and corrected servers for smiling too wide. And he still hadn't learned her name. Then came the storm. A Wednesday morning slapped with thunderclouds and sky dark like something biblical. Rain poured sideways, pelting the windows like it was trying to get in. Staff were told to report to the third-floor conference room for a mandatory meeting. No details, just urgency. The room filled fast. Front desk, kitchen, maintenance, housekeeping, everyone. Some managers joked in the corner. Hensley leaned against the projector cart like it was his throne. At 9:06 a.m., the doors opened. And in walked Janelle, not alone, flanked by 2 lawyers in crisp navy suits, one investor in a leather trench that cost more than the building's chandelier, and an assistant carrying a velvet folder like it held gospel. The silence dropped like a guillotine. No visitor badge, no clipboard, just presence. Janelle walked slow, deliberate. Let them see her. Let them question. Let them sweat. She reached the front of the room, turned to face them, and let the quiet simmer. Then she spoke, low, clear, the kind of voice that doesn't need a mic because it's already sitting in your chest. I was fired in this room. The managers flinched. Janelle let it breathe for half a beat. Today, I'm cleaning it. The folder opened. One by one, the velvet clutched truths were handed out. Termination letters with immediate effect. Names printed clean and bold. Leonard Hensley, Danielle from HR, Philip from operations. Anyone complicit in the rot, out. Hensley tried to laugh. This is a prank. Where's the real... You're not in charge here anymore, Leonard, she cut in. You never really were. He turned beet red. You think you can just waltz in here with your... what, your little crew of lawyers? This is a business. Yes, and I own it now. She let that land. The Grand Bellevue is under new management, effective immediately. The new policy? If you exploit people, disrespect staff, or think your title gives you immunity, pack light. You're done. Gasps. Whispers. A single clap from someone in housekeeping before they caught themselves. Then another. Then it caught fire. Janelle didn't soak it in. She looked out over the team, the ones who'd been stepped on, silenced, overworked, and said, If you were ever told you weren't enough, I'm telling you now, that was a lie. Hensley stormed out, red-faced and sputtering. No one followed. By 10 a.m., new name tags were being printed. By noon, the old brass nameplate was off the front desk. Janelle Carter didn't just walk back into that hotel. She flipped the script, broke the pen, and set the damn stage on fire. You ever see someone clean house without raising their voice? That's Janelle Carter's specialty. No chaos, no drama, just quiet power, like a thunderstorm behind bulletproof glass. By the end of that first week, the Grand Bellevue didn't feel the same. The marbles still gleamed, the chandeliers still sparkled, but the air, it crackled different, lighter, sharper, like the ghosts of arrogance were getting evicted. Janelle didn't pull rank. She pulled receipts. The top 3 managers, the ones who built their little empire on fear and favoritism, were gone. Walked out not with applause, but with cardboard boxes and HR escorts. No warning, no second chances, just signatures and silence. The HR rep who couldn't verify multiple harassment complaints? Escorted out like a shoplifter. She tried to throw around buzzwords like misunderstanding and process protocol. But Janelle hit her with a 2-word knockout. Pattern of negligence. Goodbye. As for Leonard Hensley, the regional director who fired her like he was tossing out garbage, oh, that one was poetic. She fired him publicly, in the lobby, during peak check-in hours, in front of staff, guests, and a visiting corporate auditor who just so happened to be sipping a latte nearby. His severance? Frozen. Pending an internal ethics investigation. Why? Because Janelle found the paper trail. Those complaints he buried. The hush-hush bonuses. The disciplinary actions that always seemed to fall hardest on the black and brown employees. Now their evidence. She didn't gloat, didn't smirk. She just handed him a sealed envelope, nodded once and said, "You're dismissed." He turned purple. She turned the page. The very next morning, she did something none of them expected. She invited the entire housekeeping team, yes, the entire team, to her office. No memo, no intermediaries. Just her assistant going floor to floor saying, "Ms. Carter wants a word, bring your lunch." They came in quiet, skeptical, some still wearing gloves and hairnets. Janelle greeted them with pitchers of sweet tea, plates of cookies, and a round table that had never held their names before. She sat with them, no podium, no desk in between. She listened. For 2 hours, she sat and heard every complaint, every ignored idea, every time someone felt invisible in the place they kept running. Names were dropped, incidents detailed, silence broken, and when it was done, she promoted 2 of them on the spot. Maria Alvarez, who'd been working weekends for 6 years straight without a raise, was now assistant director of housekeeping. And Brenda Lowe, who trained every new hire and never got credit? She got her own office and a new title. Staff Development Coordinator. The room damn near cried. Word spread fast, not just in Savannah, but online. The press caught wind, like they always do when something real happens. Headlines lit up screens everywhere. From fired to founder. Black woman takes over historic Savannah hotel. She was let go for having attitude. Now she signs the paychecks. Janelle Carter didn't just get even. She got empowered. And then, the phone started ringing. Reporters, podcasters, influencers, activists, even a rep from the same corporate umbrella that once cut her loose. "We'd love to collaborate again," they said. "Misunderstandings happen," they said. Janelle just smiled. "Y'all didn't misunderstand me," she replied. "You underestimated me." She hung up. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about reclamation. She didn't come back to scream. She came back to own. And Savannah was just starting to feel the shift. Power doesn't change you. It strips you bare. Janelle Carter thought the hard part was over, turning the page, claiming her space, walking back into the Grand Bellevue like a storm in heels. But the truth is, climbing up just shows you who's waiting to pull you down. It started subtle. A few nasty notes slipped under office doors, one scribbled on hotel stationery. "Not everything needs fixing." Another mailed in a plain envelope. "Stay in your lane, little girl." Cute. Then came the email. No greeting, no signature. Just a message sharp enough to punch through the screen. "You've got family, keep that in mind." She read it twice, forwarded it to her attorney. Then called her brother, told him to pull her nephew from school for a few days. No panic, just precision, because Janelle knew fear couldn't live where strategy stayed ready. And right when she thought the noise might fade, a new kind of beast came knocking. Real estate slime in a designer suit. "Off the record," the man said, sliding into her office, with the smile of a vulture and the cologne of bad decisions. "There's a lot of eyes on this place. You've done good. But maybe it's time to cash out, quietly." He offered 8 figures, clean exit, NDAs all around. Janelle didn't even blink. "If you're here to buy silence," she said, "you're 10 years too late and 5 zeros too short." He didn't smile after that. But it wasn't over. Not even close. Because buried inside the hotel's original deed, like a trapdoor beneath a velvet rug, was a clause no one saw coming. No. A dusty, legal remnant from 1957. All exterior structural changes must be reviewed and approved by the Historical Oversight Board. Harmless on paper, deadly in practice. Why? Because that board wasn't just full of preservationists. It was full of men who played golf at the same club, where her name was once a whisper of irritation. White collars, old money, thin smiles. The same ones who toasted her exit when she got canned the first time. Now they had the power to stall her renovations, block her expansion, drown her vision in red tape, all under the guise of protecting architectural integrity. And trust, they tried. Her design proposals got lost. Her permits got delayed. One board member said her rooftop bar plan was too urban for the district. Too urban. That's when she stopped emailing and started lawyering up. She didn't fight alone this time. She had attorneys who spoke in paragraphs and moved like chess grandmasters, advocates who knew city codes like scripture, and a press corps that was watching now, closely. Every move they made in that smoky little boardroom lit up Twitter within minutes. So she took them to court, public trial, cameras rolling, front page by breakfast. Her lawyer brought receipts, one by one. Biased rulings, conflicts of interest. Donations funneled through shell accounts linked to competing developers. And then came the hammer. An internal email leaked from the Oversight Board chair's inbox. "This isn't about zoning, it's about control." Boom. The courtroom inhaled as one. The judge didn't even need a recess. In less than an hour, the ruling dropped like thunder on dry concrete. The clause was outdated, selectively enforced, and unconstitutional. Janelle Carter's renovation plans would proceed. Full approval. Effective immediately. The board dissolved. The clause dead. Janelle? Unbothered. She didn't smile when the verdict hit. She just stood, straightened her blazer, and walked out like the hallways belonged to her. Because now, They did. The past came back swinging. But Janelle, she swung harder. A year can change everything, if the right hands are building. The Grand Bellevue still stands tall on Savannah's riverfront, all white columns and wrought iron balconies. But it doesn't whisper the same secrets anymore. The ghosts of elitism, of exclusion, of polite racism in pressed uniforms, they got evicted. Permanently. Now, the lobby greets you with color. Rich, bold murals by local black artists stretch across walls that used to be sterile and silent. The chandeliers still sparkle, but now they shine down on something real. Warmth, community, actual joy. And that smell? Still luxury, but with a twist of soul. Janelle Carter walks those halls now. Not as a guest, not as a manager tiptoeing around power, but as the damn blueprint. Tailored navy suit. Locks slicked back. A quiet confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. She doesn't strut. She glides. Nods to every staff member she passes. Knows most of their names. Listens when they talk. There's no executive break room anymore. Everyone eats in the same dining hall. Chicken and waffles on Wednesdays. Vegan chili on Fridays. Laughter at the long tables. Nobody's peeking over their shoulder. Because in this place, hierarchy doesn't mean separation. It means responsibility. Pay? Living wage, minimum. Overtime? Paid. Healthcare? Full coverage, including therapy stipends. Because trauma doesn't clock out. And Janelle's lived enough of it to know healing starts at the paycheck. The housekeeping uniforms, no longer stiff and beige. Now, they're breathable, stylish, and designed with feedback from the staff who actually wear them. One employee called it the first time I've felt like I wasn't in a costume. That stuck with Janelle. And the guest experience? Impeccable, but no longer tailored only to the elite. Locals get discounts. Art shows are open to the public. The rooftop bar hosts poetry nights where high schoolers share mics with best-selling authors. It's not just a hotel now. It's a home for transformation. When a national magazine flew in to interview her, Janelle greeted the journalist herself. No PR handler, no assistant screen, just her, in that sharp navy suit, sipping a lavender latte like she had all the time in the world. The reporter leaned in. "How does it feel to own the place that once threw you out?" Janelle smiled slow, like the words had been marinating for a while. "I didn't just buy a building," she said. "I bought back my voice." That quote went viral, her face on the cover. Power, redefined. The woman rewriting Savannah's legacy. The city took notice. The country did too. Even former doubters had to admit this wasn't a trend. It was a turning point. For the first time in its 100-year history, the Grand Bellevue wasn't just a monument to old money. It was a mirror. And in that mirror, Savannah saw something brand new. Not just wealth, not just tradition, change.